my best. I didn't bring a geologist with me, but I'll do my best.
So what is your opinion on deep injection wells for sewer plants, industrial use, like we have one at Oslo and 74,000. We've got one about 100 yards that way. They're all around the state. Those actually are the same problems. Are you proposing banning those as well?
Well, it's not just the deep injection well after the process of fracking. We're talking about the fact that there's failures in the casements and so forth, and there's failures in the entire water column, that these chemicals mix and bubble up through the limestone. So, you know, I think Commissioner O'Brien he told you there was like 43 additional chemicals, which strangely made the list of now we need to regulate these chemicals. And these chemicals are all, you know, projected to be found in surface waters. So it's not just the deep well injection, which I think is a problem. It's also the process of fracturing the rock and the escape of these chemicals mixing as they rise produce unforeseen chemical consequences as they come up through the aquifer. So this gets into the water. I don't know if you've seen the movie Groundswell Rising. I have a copy. I brought a copy of it with me. I can lend it to any one of you so you can see this, where these chemicals come up through the groundwater. They enter up into the surface waters, and the methane is lit on fire as it escapes the water. So you can literally light the water on fire. You can light taps on fire in places in Pennsylvania and West Virginia. So it's not just the deep well injection. It's the idea that this soft, porous limestone will enable the transmission of these chemicals up into our surface waters.
In the Pennsylvania cases you mentioned, I know there was extensive federal studies with no direct links back to fracking operations. Is that correct, from your knowledge?
No, from what I understand, the original EPA study was rebuked later by that same agency and said that's not technically what we said. There's more to the story. Unfortunately, fracking, the chemicals in fracking, were covered under some prohibitions in the EPA. The EPA is prohibited from regulating some of these chemicals, specifically because of provisions that were put in by the Bush-Cheney administration and, you know, sent through our Congress, which, you know, it's unbelievable that we can't regulate, the EPA can't regulate some of these chemicals. So I think we're talking about a technicality here, but the evidence that's been brought out time and again, we're talking hundreds of communities that have been affected by fracking, show that this is an inherently bad activity, but certainly in the state of Florida, made of limestone, it's inherently bad.
Last question is, I know when this originally started, it was started with Karen Hudon from the River Alliance. Are you familiar with them at all?
I'm not. I'm just a citizen. I go where I need to go to fight this particular process. I don't know Karen. Sorry. Yeah.
I didn't know if she was part of today's. Was going to be here like she came last time, but in following the activities of them, it's not just fracking here, it's fracking everywhere. It's against the pipeline, it's against XL, it's against the Montana extension spur. It seems to be, and to me, energy independence is a good thing. How you get there in a healthy, safe way is
alternative energy.
Ways to get there. But they seem to be against fossil fuels, natural gas, or any type of fuels in general as a policy.
Well, I can tell you this, that water, right now we're seeing attacks on water, and that is really concerning, is that, energy independence at the cost of what? Of drinking water. Right now we can rate how much a gallon of gas costs, and we can say, well, it's $2 a gallon of gas, and this is helping. Although that's debatable. A lot of this hydraulic fracturing work will produce gas for exportation. But you can say it's going to save on cheap gas. Well, how much will a glass of water cost in 10 years if we pollute the aquifer? And once you pollute the aquifer with some of this stuff, you can't go back. You can't undo it. There's no primary, secondary, tertiary treatment facility that'll rub this stuff out once it's in the water. And by the process of diffusion, once it's in one part of the state with a good enough impact, it will be all over the state. So I think this is an inherently bad activity. we could get into the whole argument about fossil fuels and the fact that, the new revolution coming is in alternative energy, per
It's
force.
not, it would probably take us the wrong way.
That would probably take us in the wrong direction. But, for right now, when you're looking at drinking water and fracking and choose, I think drinking water is a public good that we need to be concerned about.
Well, again, as I said in the beginning, nobody's against clean water and clean air, and how do you strike a balance? And to me, I don't know where fracking is viable. I know where I would personally say you wouldn't put it near the lagoon, you wouldn't put it offshore, you wouldn't put it near our St. Johns River Basin marsh area, but somewhere in the county, and I know what they're doing is they're going one county at a time, chipping away to get a statewide ban, 1/67th at a time. And there may be some viable areas somewhere in the state. I don't want to close the door on Florida's economic opportunity somewhere else by being part of closing the window here. Then you'll leverage that to go to the next place and say, look, we got Indian River to do it, and then you'll get them, and it's a domino effect of kind of like how the medical marijuana program.
May I start something to see how far it goes?
Sure, Mr. Schumer.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, and for different reasons, I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
I'm
that's
going to
fine.
comment afterwards. I mean, it is drinking water, and it bothers me that the increase of the certain chemicals, it bothers me just as bad as at least what I've heard, and I can't say anything I'm saying is really correct, but my understanding is that DEP is not too transparent in forcing the companies to disclose the actual chemicals. We have the problem with the board, with two of the members that should have been there weren't there, and just to me, a basic failure of a lot of agencies to do their job. So I'll go ahead and, I feel like you wanted somebody other than you two to make the first motion. So I'm going to just address the ordinance, the county ordinance, not the resolution. But I'll go ahead.